Welcome back to our election studio where Nigeria decides, and thank you very much for staying with us. Now, if you're just joining us, today's topic is going to be looking at the information and communication technology sector. It has become one of the most vibrant industries in the country, and the reason is not far-fetched. According to statistics, a global statistics company, that's Statistica, there are approximately 76.2 million Nigerians internet users, that is, as of 2017, an increase of nearly 50% from the 2013 figure of 51.8 million.
The question is, how viable is the ITC space in Nigeria? Lots of issues coming up. We have two guests to talk to us. They're experts in the technology business. I have Isaiah Etuk. He's an IT manager with TWPC. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And of course, Ido Akinde, tech lead, Sev Consult Limited. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, Isaiah, we're talking about a space where you're very much familiar with, but I'd like us to look at one of the claims by the Minister of Communications, that's Adebayo Shito, and it says, well, the information and communications technology industry is actually attracted much more foreign direct investment to the tune of about $32 billion, and that's away from $40 billion as at last year. Now, let's talk through potentials of the ICT space in Nigeria. Looking at foreign direct investment first, what should we be looking at?
Okay. So just off the top of my head, without any scientific data to back it, I'd say that we're sitting on a gold mine, okay? And what we've recorded so far, what we've seen so far in terms of foreign direct investment over the years is a tip of the iceberg. I think that at the risk of comparing apples to apples, okay, India last year did a total, in 2018, did a total of $150 billion in IT outsourcing. If you ask any Nigerian IT professional who has worked side by side with Indians in Nigeria, they will tell you that there's no extra brain matter in those guys' skulls. My point is, if we have the right enabling environment and factors that can stimulate growth in this sector, we can recreate and possibly do better than that.
Do you think that the government is making efforts, and individuals, Nigerians generally, are they making efforts to create the right space that you mentioned?
Okay, so the efforts by especially the government so far are to be commended. There's been a few sound bites from the government that obviously are attracting this FDI and so on and so forth.
Now, what kind of sound bites are you talking about?
Yeah, well, I mean things like the passing of a cybersecurity bill. So there's a stance, there's a position of the government against cybersecurity, an official position. And things like that get to give confidence and strength to the sector. Okay? However, there's much more that can be done. And I could go off on a tangent, but we'll come back to that.
Isaiah, now talking about much more that can be done. We looked just about 22 hours ago, New York actually beat Silicon Valley as the biggest tech city. Now we have the likes of our computer village in Lagos State. What do you think we should be doing now to tap those areas when we are looking at potentials?
Okay, for me, basically, I won't look at the government aspect. Government has done a lot, but let's leave government for now. Technology drives itself, So if you're in technology and you know what to do, I don't think, like you said something about regulations, but regulations don't get to the end user. Now, imagine I'm a developer, per se, and I build websites. Now, there are no regulation that stops me from making so much money. And now I have a company, I pay tax, okay, I'm putting back. Now there's a lot of the organizations that don't have like websites corporate, looking at the corporate space as well. There are a lot of organizations that want to now use technology to drive what they do. People like that, and then there are people that have this knowledge that can, Nigerians basically, that can do these implementations to handle integrations for them. Okay, now technology is a driver, not necessarily when it comes to when you have to do with frameworks, like he has said. Think the drive itself. Imagine the returns they made in less than like about a year. You know, people drive technology. You know, we embraced it. Even sometimes we didn't even understand. I knew when I bought a phone, I bought a line for about 15,000 naira. 15,000.
Roger that. There are some people that bought for 30 something.
And you know, some people bought for 30 something. Sometimes there's the bug of buy one, get one free. People were buying two phones. You know, the presentation was amazing. But after a while, you notice a lot of people started using this phone. So I think in the last 2 years, it looked like it has dropped because we have a lot more people using technology.
Yeah, I'm not worried that we're just at 31%. That is if we're agreeing with the stats provided by the Internet World Stats.
Okay. Caveat, if we agree with the stats. I think that though that statistic looks like a high-level aggregate, which when you drill down into the regions and or countries in Africa, you may find different realities. So 31% for the whole of Africa, 50 countries, 1 billion people, may look not unimpressive. But I'm not very sure, but I don't think that Nigeria's internet penetration rate right now is less than 70%. I don't think so. Okay? So just for the purpose of discussion, if you then think of that, you then see that the realities across different regions and or countries in Africa has to be different in terms of how you apply or how you leverage this internet access to better people's everyday lives. Having said that, let's take the barest minimum as let's say that the 31% is actually the case everywhere. You would then cast your mind back to runaway successes like the USSD financial inclusion use cases that we've had recently. And you see how people have been able to, that's in Nigeria. You think about the M-Pesa, the mobile banking, excellent runaway success in Kenya, you know, and you see how Africans have been innovative and creative enough to kind of sidestep the huge technology infrastructure deficit that they have and deliver value to people who don't even have internet access. That doesn't excuse that the governments and those responsible should provide the basic internet access, but people, like he said, people drive technology. People are finding creative ways to deliver services to people, even in places where internet is poor. Yeah.
And now moving on, we have a number of active telecom subscribers reaching as much as 148.7 million as at August 2015, and that also rose again to 162.05 million as at September last year. So that was the third quarter report. Now, if we are having the Internet of Things bringing life on an easy basis, how much are we supposed to be keen into this? And can you just break it down? Because when we say Internet of Things or automation, we necessarily don't really understand beyond just seeing our lifts and pressing our phones and saying we can perform certain activities. So the potentials here. Open our eyes. Yes, you.
Okay, so there are a lot of exciting emerging technologies these days, and you've mentioned one of them. Very, very, it evokes great emotions whenever it's mentioned. Internet of Things. Essentially, Internet of Things is the coordinated connection of various things. So from a fitness tracker on someone's wrist to a sensor or a set of sensors in their car to a weather sensor somewhere close to their office, so that
their microwave.
To their microwave and their fridge, monitoring maybe a milk level or something in a bottle. So what providers are trying to do now is to study the average consumer's everyday path through their life as they wake up in the morning, pass through their bathroom, pass through their kitchen, to their car, to their office, and come back. And they want to have a touch point in each of those areas and send back data to a master server somewhere that through which they can then coordinate and say, okay, this guy spends 24 hours in the pub every day, or this guy spends 3 hours in traffic every day. Can I send him something to engage him and make the traffic less strenuous, and so on and so forth. So that's the ultimate big picture value of IoT. IoT is extremely applicable to things like agriculture. Imagine that for far off places where in the north, for instance, where there's been desert encroachment, say for example, there's some island there where that is good for planting some crop. If you don't have these sensors, you can't know that it's good, or you can't know that it will be good in 6 months, and so on and so on, or what type of crop that particular soil is good for. So all of that, aggregating all of that all over Africa, it's exciting. It's exciting. There's so many applications for that.
Isaiah, you also work within the recruitment and outsourcing area. Now, which areas of specialization should we be looking at our areas of potential? Because at the end of the day, we have those who are website developers, we have those who are, it's just a long value chain, analysts, data analysts, and a whole lot more. So which areas of specialization should we be focusing on, especially like we initially talked about, the Internet of Things as well? Because when you're looking at the integration of this whole chain of activities, we need manpower to fuel it away from I'll still come back to the 3G and 4G Internet access as well.
For me, everything works. Okay, now, talking about manpower, we have developers. They listen to you, solve your problem by developing a system that solves your problem. That's for developers. Now for data analysis, data is almost everything now. Like what is said about Internet of Things, it can't function without data. Monitoring what you do, how you cough, how you even sneeze, how you walk makes sense. Now, the way you even cough makes sense. The sound you produce, now they collate all that to actually make meaning out of the data.